We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling show. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, the two undisputed scholars of the show themselves. First off, the OG scholar, undisputed scholar boy. You know him. He's Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how you doing?
You got to work better on these introductions, fool. You're presenting the show. Act professional. Here he is, the OG undisputed scholar, Scholar Tarek, and his undisputed scholar tag team partner, the reigning, defending, undisputed Scholars of Wrestling. Wait, are you still a champion? Wait, no, didn't Charlie win it? No.
Yes.
Charlie won.
Shit,
now
that's
who's
right.
unprofessional? Keeping track
Oh,
of the title.
Well, no one holds the damn belt on these shows, so it's hard to tell who's the champion anymore. Because no one is flaunting Goldie as she should be flaunted because she is such a beautiful title.
And that's
where is she?
Issue. That's the only issue with doing these remote shows.
It's just like, wait a second, something's wrong here.
And let's face it, okay. The champion should always be on the show. I don't care what excuse you have. I shouldn't talk because I know that I take time off and I'm the champion. I'm Brock Lesnar light. Okay, I know this. But you know, Charlie, come on, bro. I've got cred. I've got street cred. You don't.
No. Well, I'll tell you what. It's not going to be too much longer before the Scholars of Wrestling Championship is defended. I will talk about the next show that the belt will be defended on, or at least it should in due time. But first, we got to address the hottest issues of the wrestling world today in a little segment we like to call Backstage News.
Indeed, we shall go ahead, peek behind that curtain once again, and be like, holy shit, it's Danhausen. No, go away. Shoo. Come back another time and check in on another
Backstage
News.
We actually did
curses.
it.
Meh.
No curses. No curses from Danhausen. Meh.
We're actually back to it. I love it. But yes, before we even get to Danhausen, before we even get to the latest elsewhere in the world of professional wrestling, the earth-shaking announcement has been revealed by Tony Khan himself. We have that long-awaited, long-rumored AEW New Japan crossover show, Forbidden Door, happening this June. Gentlemen, what was your initial reaction to this news? A lot of people were expecting this to happen and thought it was a very poorly kept secret, or some people were really caught off guard by this and are really excited about what's to come. Gentlemen,
I was not one of the ones who was caught off guard. I was like, I've been expecting this since they did the Jon Moxley and Kenta stuff, and they were like the Forbidden Door and all that, and Jon Moxley was like, anybody who wants to open the Forbidden Door can walk right on through. They're not gonna like what they find on the other side. So but then it kind of seemed like that all fell by the wayside for a little bit once Mox went to rehab. So once he came back and you started seeing all that again, and he started going to NJPW and all, and Eddie Kingston was doing the strong NJPW strong stuff, it was like, okay, we're back in business. We're here now. And then you knew or at least I did. I knew at some point one of these big announcements that Tony Khan had was that there was going to be a AEW NJPW crossover show. It had to happen. they've had too many crossovers without an actual crossover
How about
for a
you,
couple
fool?
years now. For a
How about
couple
you,
years
fool?
now.
Well, when Tony Khan started hinting at another huge announcement, I'm just thinking it's one of two things. One is the AEW and JPW crossover Forbidden. Well, we didn't know what it was. It was called Forbidden Door, but the crossover event of the year, or it was just more good news coming from Ring of Honor, which is going to be a Ring of Honor television deal. But it turned out to be the former, and I couldn't be any more excited about this. I'm just thinking, all right, we're getting Double or Nothing, and then we're getting this Forbidden Door. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you, Tony Khan. I couldn't be any more excited about this. And just thinking of possible dream matches of what could come out of this. And it's now just become more of who do I want to see Bryan Danielson fight? And then
No,
it's also
that's an easy one.
what's the easy one?
It needs to be Danielson versus Okada. That's it.
That is a good one.
Then
it's
again,
also-
Because you want Kenny Omega to be back in fighting shape, so you can do Omega versus Ibushi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that leaves Danielson open to face Okada. You do a rematch, Moxley and Ishii. Bam! There's your super card. There's your three.
There's your
There's
three main
your
events.
three main events right there. That's it.
really, I think you're forgetting the inclusion
I
of
don't
the
need
biggest
I d-
star
as-
of
as
AEW
much-
of New Japan.
as much as I would love to see Moxley versus Yano again. Okay. Toru Yano. That would be amazing. I think that they should bring in Shota and have him be a part. No. Wheeler Yuta versus Toru Yano. That's it.
Oh, I
Avenge-
think we can do a
Avenge
little bit
John
better
Moxley.
than
Avenge John Moxley. Go on, no.
that. Hey, as long as I get Toru Yano, if I seriously get Toru Yano versus anybody, if I get a Toru Yano match in the States, that will make my entire year. It truly will.
We're getting DVD Phil in AEW.
I want
in
DVD
June.
Phil
want
in the
you to-
States. I want officially licensed AEW licensed DVD Phil t-shirt, or else, damn it, I'll make my own. I'll make my own damn DVD Phil t-shirt. And I'll buy the DVD. Oops, except they won't let me.
Well, I would just mainly go for like CM Punk versus Kenta. That would be a fun one.
Well, that's easy.
I think they're all but confirming that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Punk versus
Possibly.
Kenta?
Hints, small
one of
hints.
those- You've got four. You've got four main event matches. We just booked the card for you. We already did it. CM Punk versus Kenta, Moxley versus Ishii, Orange Cassidy versus Yano. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Honestly, in all relative seriousness, when it comes to Yano, I feel like he needs, like, he's the goofy, jokey guy. He needs a straight man to play off of. So they can't have two jokey guys go in the ring together unless you've got something very specific in mind. So to me, it would need a someone really serious to play off of.
Pac.
Which I'd say three people come to mind. Pac, you can go with Eddie Kingston, or you send Hook.
Mm,
You know what?
Possibly.
It could be Eddie Kingston avenging his brother, avenging the injustice that was done 2 years ago to Moxley. That's it.
And then Eddie Kingston gets beaten by Yano
And
too.
then Eddie Kingston the same thing happens to Eddie Kingston. That's it.
Eddie Kingston will just lose no matter what. But when after like the announcement came and it's all just sinking in, and I'm just responding, okay, this pay-per-view is just the stepping stone of what the deal between these two companies can bring us. And my immediate like the first thing that popped into my head was just the idea of AEW superstars in the G1 climax.
Oh no. Oh
Yep.
no. It's starting again,
Well,
isn't it?
No, but seriously, in AEW superstars in the G1 is just
Bryan Danielson.
Bryan Danielson. He would probably
G1.
he would probably win that damn thing. How serious he is right now, just on how much of a hot streak he's on.
Keith Lee.
And Keith Lee,
Keith
exactly.
Lee.
Of course.
Any of those guys, and any like if you want to keep building an up and coming superstar, okay, you don't need Moxley to be in the tournament, but if Moxley is like in the corner of Wheeler Yuta while Wheeler
Yeah.
Yuta is in the G1 climax, bam, that's it. I mean,
just
just
the
keep
more I
building
think
up-
about it,
Daniel Garcia, the young guys that you're trying to build up. Okay, Daniel Garcia with Jericho, the Painmaker in NJPW, and Wheeler Yuta with the Death Rider. Put them both in the G1 climax and build them up.
now I'm thinking more about everyone else who's on the New Japan roster right now. And people we haven't even brought up yet. Like, again, Hook sounds interesting, but who knows how well it could work with a Japanese talent. But so many other people, like, again, we still haven't even mentioned Tanahashi. Who could he possibly fight?
Well, he's already facing Moxley in May.
Okay.
It's already happening.
Maybe he can go
So-
against Hangman Page.
Here comes another.
Yeah. He can go against Hangman Page. He can go
Yeah,
against
just
Adam
sneezing like
Cole.
crazy.
He can go against Adam Cole versus Tanahashi because Tanahashi is technically a babyface, right?
He didn't seem like too much of a baby face tonight. He cheated
Oh, I
to win against Ishii after Jay White.
No, I was
interfered.
told Tanahashi.
Oh, like
I'm-
yeah, I don't think Tanahashi will ever be heel. He's a Japanese John Cena.
Yeah, exactly. So Tanahashi versus Adam Cole. Bam. There you go.
Okay, here's another one. Tetsuya Naito. Who fights Naito? I got a name in mind.
Who do you have in mind?
Darby.
Yeah.
Darby versus either him or Hiroki Goto. That one will slap.
Yeah.
There's like so many different ways they can pull this off. So many dream matches beyond just the few that we mentioned. Like they could just like throw darts
And I
against the
mean-
wall and boom.
And it's also like let's face it, okay. There's gonna be more of these. They're
yeah, this is
they're
just the
not only
beginning.
Gonna do one. So it's like for the first one, you have your big four, the expected matches, and then you can play around with the rest. But I believe we're gonna. I could see a Sting versus Tanahashi. There,
That would be
because-
amazing.
Because for whatever reason, Sting is wrestling better now than he has even from back in his WCW days. Like,
That
like,
would
he's
make for the
wrestling-
amazing
he's
final
wrestling
run.
before. He's wrestling better then he's wrestling the same as he was before he was the Crow Sting, when he still had the multicolored face paint.
Surfer
That's,
Sting.
yeah,
It's
I'm
it's
like
so funny
that.
that there's even talks about bringing Surfer Sting back in the
Yeah,
with them hinting at an ultimate deletion match
yeah.
at the Hardy compound.
It's
Hmm.
the thing about this announcement is that it leaves the door wide open. There is so much
The
that
Forbidden
you
Door.
can do with this. There's so much that you can do with this. And like I fail to see a way where this can go bad.
Hmm.
Which
Well,
is
I'll tell you
something like
what. Yes.
which is something like I can't say for for various other ventures that have been attempted. Like there I just don't see a way where they could screw this up.
Oh, I'm sure if they were adamant about it, they'd be able to find some way to do it, but they'd really have to try. But frankly, even if Tony Khan drops the ball, I don't think New Japan will. They'll push hard enough, and again, Tony Khan is no slouch. So I think they'll fairly easily be able to pull something interesting together. But before we get to all of that, before we actually get to that forbidden door and open it, we still have a lot leading up to the road to Double or Nothing for AEW to worry about, particularly with now it's all but official that we are going to get a title match, Hangman Page versus CM Punk at Double or Nothing. Immediate reactions to this. Are you surprised that this is what the title match we're getting? And if so, where's it all going to go?
It's like I I can't say that I'm surprised because after the last pay-per-view and CM Punk beating MJF, he said straight out in at the press conference that he was looking to go for the title. So I'm like, okay. So that's what they're building to. The question is, do they give CM Punk the title and have him be a transitional champion, or do they put another notch in Hangman Page's cap? Because either way, whatever comes out of this, MJF is beating either one of those guys when they face him.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is
So
one thing I love about this, where it can,
it
even though we think we know what's coming, it can go any number of ways. That I
yeah,
love.
it's just one of those it it's a great match. It's a great match concept. Okay, Hangman Page versus CM Punk, I'm all for it. It's just a question of how you want to do it. So and there's no bad way there's no bad way to do it. It's just you need to think about what's going to make the most impact when MJF becomes your champion.
And
Is it him beating CM Punk, or is it him beating the most over babyface in the company?
Scholar Tarek, let's pitch it over to you. How do you think this is all going to go down? And was this the right time to do it?
It really is a talk. It's really just depending on what story they tell with these guys. Is it just CM Punk just wanting to go for a title, or are they going to try and like where do they want to go with this story, and how long do they want to tell this story? I mean, we still got them. What is it, like 4 weeks until
Just
Double or
about,
Nothing?
yes.
Yeah, it's it's for me. It's kind of too early to really tell, but I think no matter what, to respond with what Brian says, I just don't think it's going to be. I don't see MJF going after the title as soon as enough for like CM Punk to be a transitional champion, or just to Adam Page to keep the title a little longer. It's weird. It's like, well, it was inevitable that this is going to be coming, and I'm more than excited for what they're gonna what the possibilities can be for this. But for what I'm expecting, I don't know. Simple answer. Like, I'm trying to give like a really great answer, but I don't know. I don't know what kind of these stories. That's the one thing I really enjoy about AEW television, is that there is possibilities. It's not just going to be good guy versus bad guy. This is just CM Punk versus Hangman Adam Page. And I couldn't be any more excited on what possibly could be coming from this. This is just going to be the old man coming out of a 7-year hiatus to beat, as one of you put it, the top baby face of the company. Oh, I don't know. And that's what makes me excited about this, is that the possibilities they can do anything.
Because you don't know going in. Like, it's not one of those things like, oh, okay, we know a month in advance that CM Punk's gonna go in and take this title, which is more than I can say for other brands and companies. It's like you rarely know going in what's going to happen in big matches. So we're setting up for Hangman Page and CM Punk, and it can go either way, and either way works. And that's what has us so excited about it.
Well, speaking of excitement, we would not be able to close the show without at least touching base on what is easily the biggest money match in AEW history. Undisputed by a long shot. We're finally getting it. We're getting Hook versus Danhausen. The only question is, when's it all going to go down? Are we going to get it on Dynamite, or is it going to make it a part of Double or Nothing, or maybe someplace else? What's the call?
It's going to be a buy-in match.
Put it on the buy-in.
We pretty much had the exact same answer. It's going to be a buy-in match.
Okay, all kidding
you
aside.
Put too much. No, seriously, you put too much hype into it. Again, it's just what
it's gotta be like.
I feel like I barely
be like
did.
30 seconds. It's gotta be 30 seconds long. Danhausen's gonna try to curse him. You can't curse Hook, and Hook's gonna kill him. That's it. That's it.
I don't think it's going to happen quite that way, because Hook is still a face. Danhausen is still a face. Everyone's still over. I don't think it's going to be on the pre-show, because I think they would need to still in Danhausen's first match. You can have him be funny and not have him look like a joke. Like, if you're going to show that this guy's a big deal beyond just his comedy shtick, I say give him at least 10 minutes on the actual Double or Nothing card. Him and Hook. Have them go, and then this will be the thing where, okay, Hook realizes, all right, Hook still wins, but he realizes, okay, Danhausen just didn't roll over and die. He's a friggin' weirdo, but he's not a joke. And that's he earns his respect and defeat.
Now hold on. Going off of your premise, after that, did they team up?
I was about to say
that far.
I was about to say, are you just planning on making these guys the AEW equivalent of what Goldust and Booker T was back in the early 2000s?
No, I'm gonna
Straight
make
man
this
and the
in-
cartoon character.
no, worse. I'm gonna make this into TNA era version of New Jack and Shark Boy,
Oh God.
where the two are just like no. But in all seriousness, all jesting aside, I don't see them becoming an actual tag team. More like if Danhausen is getting beat up like a 3-on-1 whatever by somebody, maybe Hook will come out and take one or two of them down.
They're going to be the ones to take the tag titles off
Yeah.
Lucha Express.
no.
No,
In-
that's the joke.
Okay, now who's going too
No,
far with the hype here?
In
You're-
all seriousness,
It's still going to be in the
okay,
kickoff
I hope that they don't
or the buy-in.
just put it on a Rampage. I do hope that I don't think it gets enough for an actual pay-per-view slot, but if they give it time on the buy-in, like they gave the House of Black versus Rowan and was it Lucha Express?
It was
was it?
Death Triangle.
Pac. Yeah,
It
Pac
was
and
it was
Penta.
it was Death Triangle and Eric
Rowan,
Rowan.
yep.
If you give them like that kind of time on the buy-in, that would work for me.
Because I was even just about to say it. The thing is, you can't really compare the buy-in to the kickoff show because you could just tell one is actually is like, oh yeah, we're putting these matches on just so you could see this is the real appetizer to what AEW can bring on their pay-per-views, other than just what WWE does with the kickoff. It's pretty much like, oh, with the kickoff, you have matches. Just man, it's not good enough to be on the here. This is just something we'll give for free. That type of ordeal. With the buy-in, it's like this is just a small taste of what's to come on the pay-per-view. You better order this on the pay-per-views.
Yeah, and you know what? The more I think about it, the more I'm comfortable with this match being on the buy-in, if that's what they choose to do.
One of us.
Because I'll tell you what, I got something just popped into my mind that we had the AEW debut of one of the biggest names in the professional wrestling industry making their AEW debut on a buy-in. I am, of course, talking about the legendary Maki Ito. Like, seriously,
Yes.
the buy-ins are not what we typically think of. And same thing with the weekly shows. Dynamite is just as it says, it's Dynamite. There's nothing tame about it. If it's a premium match that you can pay a premium price for at a big name pay-per-view, sure, it would make sense. But there's nothing lacking, even if it's on a pre-show or a buy-in or a Dynamite or whatever else you got. In AEW, the quality is always there.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
that's
just-
why we love it so much.
Whatever is on the show matters, and it's actually building the stars of tomorrow, other than just filling time.
And it's like even the squash matches aren't squash matches because the people get the people on the other side get a chance to show off their moves.
That's what Dark is for, to have squash matches and just for the sake of squash matches.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not purely squash matches. There's still
Oh, no, it is.
There its own feuds. Like there's a lot of squash matches, but there's still
that's
something
what Dark
there.
is. Hiring local talent just to put over the stars. That's Dark. Yes. No.
Not in all cases. No.
In
Not
every
in all
case.
cases. Not in all cases. I can reference something, but I'm not going to take up that much time on this episode at least. But anyway, all things considered, all that being said, those are our thoughts, our looking ahead, our predictions for the future of what's going to happen at Double or Nothing and far beyond. So with that, now we pitch it over to you, our audience. What did you think of the Tony Khan's latest big announcement? Will you be watching the Forbidden Door? What matches do you want to see? Wherever you are, all across the internet, let us know what you think, whether it's on our social medias. If you're on YouTube, hey, check us out, leave us a like, give us some comments, and yeah, check out many of our back episodes too. If you're joining us on our podcast, wow, I had a bit of a brain fart there, I apologize. But if you're joining us on our podcast, why not check out our video episodes? Thank you for checking us out. All of our latest back episodes are going to be archived on YouTube as our backlog continues to grow week by week. And of course, if you want to hear more of the Scholars of Wrestling and get our opinions and our live commentary on things, you can always check us out on our social media channels. Fool, what's your social media of choice?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter at the Avatar. And yeah, that's really it. I have an Instagram. I rarely post stuff, pictures on that, but it's just
same here.
That's mainly just me showing off my kids.
And Scholar Brian, where can he reach you on the internet?
You can find me on Facebook. You can also find me lamenting everything that everything that I ever think on Twitter at Atomic Beanpole, and you can find me on Instagram, but I am a ghost.
As am I. So if you want to join in any live tweeting or commentary on whatever show is airing this particular week, you can join in the conversation with me at I'm Robbie Rage. And for those links and more, you can check us out on our new link tree. Just go to linktree/Scholars of Wrestling for all the latest episodes, relevant links, stuff to buy on our new Teespring store, and all sorts of related fun. Join us there. It's a ton of fun. Enjoy the Scholars of Wrestling universe, and you'll get a taste of what we're truly all about. And then you will know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
See you all next time for more fun.